it started with one Batman. Okay, it started with one, the White Knight Batman. That was the first DC Multiverse Batman figure that I've ever owned from Mcfarlane. That started this entire spiral into getting more Batman figures as time went on. And here we are on this review looking at not one, but two Batman figures because they're both the same figures, the same, everything, just repainted. One is repainted, one is a regular one, right? So here we are looking at two of the same figures, and instead of, making them separate reviews, I'm making them their own review in both because they're exactly the same figure. So you have the regular and you have the Platinum Chase version, which is supposed to be very rare, and I guess it is. Now, how did I find this Platinum Chase variant? Well, I was at a GameStop with a friend, and we were looking, to see if they got anything. And they did have a little bit of DC Multiverse stuff, but it wasn't a whole lot. And on that shelf, this thing was sitting there, this Platinum Chase. And I was like, oh no. It's like I already have the regular one. Do I really need this Chase version? Like, do I actually need a Chase version? I have the normal one. And I thought, and eventually I end up at the cash register paying $25 with tax and everything for this guy and walked out of there. I don't know how the heck that happened. It's like everything just blanked, and then I just, I'm in next moment, I'm back in the car, and this figure is, with me, and there's a receipt. Okay, this is messed up. This is messed up. So yeah, I am part of the problem. I'm part of the Batman problem. So if you guys want to point fingers at people like me who are part of the Batman problem with this line being very Batman heavy, there you go. I'm one of them. I admit it. I am responsible as well. All right. There are plenty of us who buy Batman figures, and we just tell ourselves we don't need any more, but then we just end up getting them anyways. So, all right. With that said, we shall look at these two figures, and yeah. So, what propelled me to buy this figure? Well, the answer to that is simple. It's mainly because if you're collecting Batman figures as deep as I am, or you have, even if it's not, like I don't have 100 Batman figures, right? But I still have like a good amount of Batmans on my shelf where if I put them all in one photo, it looks like a nightmare, right? Like most people be like, why do you need this many Batmans? And I just tell myself, I don't even know. I don't even know why I need this many Batman. I don't even know how this started. Oh, wait, no, I do know how this started. So, yeah, because his first appearance, and he debuted in the, in the Detective Comics, right? You got to have a piece of history on your shelf, at least. You got to have something that represents the past in plastic form. And that is the reason why I got this figure. What was mainly because of that. And when I got it, and, took it out of the box, I was just blown away by this figure. Even though it's like a reuse of an existing mold, somehow it still blew me away for some reason. I don't even know how. So, here we are. All right, this is the data profile card that... Oh, sorry about that. This is the data profile card that he comes with. As you can see, it shows an image of, like, I believe the issue that he's from. And isn't that amazing that comic books used to be 10 cents? But that was a whole different economy back in the day. And then it says May 1939. Wow. If I was alive in May 1939 and I picked up this issue, that would be crazy. If I'm still alive right now, I'd probably be really old. And the figure just fell over because I knocked it over with the card. So who is Batman? Oh, do we really need to do... Okay, who is Batman? For someone who actually doesn't know who Batman is somehow. You've been living under a rock. Batman's real name is Bruce Wayne. Batman has dedicated his life to an endless crusade, a war on all criminals in the name of his murdered parents, who were taken from him when he was just a child. Since that tragic night, he has trained his body and mind to near physical perfection to be a self-made superhero. He's developed an arsenal of technology that would put most armies to shame, and he's assembled teams of his fellow heroes like the Justice League and the Outsiders. In the name of his murdered parents, Bruce Wayne wages eternal war on the criminals of Gotham City. He is vengeance. He is the knight. He is Batman. So, as you know, Kevin Conroy says that line in the Batman the Animated Show. One of the best voice actors for Batman ever. May he rest in peace. I will forever miss that voice actor because you can't have anyone else be Batman but him, right? Like, he just does. I mean, there is a couple other voice actors that do a pretty good Batman voice, but there's always something about Kevin Conroy where he just does it in a way that just, sounds epic. It's like Mark Hamill with Joker, right? So, there's always a voice actor that will always be the one that we all gravitate towards for these characters. It's like Transformers, right? You got Frank Welker. I think its last name is Welker. And you also have Peter Cullen, the voices of Optimus and Megatron. It's very hard to, get used to different voice actors for those characters. But, as time goes on and people get older, you kind of have to get used to some of the newer voices for them. So that's just how reality is. It doesn't mean that we should forget the ones who made them popular, right? So, okay. As you can see, he's very simple. There is not much going on this figure. It's literally just flat gray, from his body to his legs, and then these boots are sculpted, kind of like they stick out, and then that's it. And then he has a printed Bat logo. There's nothing else on this figure to really say that it's impressive. Like, it's not, it's just a simple Batman figure. And then he has a nice wired cape, so I do love the whole thing with this. I like that they're including wired capes of more figures now. I think this is the way to go. At first they were giving them cloth capes without wires, and I was like, nobody likes that. And then now every single time they do capes, they give it a wire cape. Now, these are the more cheaper, flimsy kind. They're not like the best, but they still can do what you need them to do, I guess. If you want to get them into pose, like if you want the cape to kind of cover him like this, it'll do the job, right? So, very simple. As for his face, it's a pretty good face, right? It doesn't look too bad. I mean, that's a really good looking Batman head sculpt right there. His ears are pointy. So, yeah, there's not really much going on with his... I would say there's not much going on with his design overall. It's just very, very, simple, right? And then if we take a look at the Platinum one as well, again, it's just it's just a repaint with the blues. There's not anything too crazy. And then the areas that are like cell shading is not really cell shading because it just looks like it's just like purely painted on. So if you want to get a better look at that blue, yeah, mine got a little QC issue on it, as you can see, but like it's not a bad blue, right? And his head, same thing again, same head, same face. So yeah, there's not much difference in the overall, like, it's mainly just the colors, right? They just look different, and this guy is gonna fall over, I have a feeling. Let me see if I can get him to pose. Okay, stay. Stay. As for their accessories, they both include the same accessories, just repainted. So in terms of the wrench, they both come with a wrench. Yes, he, I don't know why he has a wrench. I am very clueless on, like, what this Batman uses as his weapons. Like, I don't know if he uses batarangs, but he has a wrench for some reason. I'm assuming he uses that to knock people out. I don't know. He does have these hands, which honestly are kind of useless because they can't hold the wrench. So again, not meant for gripping stuff. Then he has these hands. I don't know what the heck to use those for. So, and then on the platinum one, they are exactly the same hands, right? You got the same, gripping hands like this, whatever these are. And he also has the same old open hand expression hands. So, yeah, same accessories, repainted. Don't know what to use those hands for, really, because they're not really that great. I'm glad they have fist hands. Thank goodness. So there's that. Okay, time for articulation. We only need to show one figure for articulation, so we'll show the regular one because this one's better articulated from my copy. So he does lift his arms up. It can go back all the way because the cape does not get in the way. His head is one singular piece. So instead of having like a neck and then a ball joint or, like a ball joint up here, it's one entire piece. So not a good way to do a head, honestly, like a headpiece. It just limits him from looking, like he can look down, right? He's not looking up. So there's that. And also there's a gap right there. As for his arms, he can also do, I believe he could do double joint. It's very tight. Let me see. Maybe not this arm. Let me try the other arm. There you go. You got double joint. Then you have, the upper arm swivel, right? That works on both sides. Then you have the swivel at the hand with articulation, sculpted articulation in the peg. So it's a sculpted ball peg. He does have very good range of torso movement. I like that. So this one can rotate. His waist can rotate, I think, pretty good. It can lean back. It can lean back okay. So if you want to use this version as the one that gets his back broken, you could do that too. As for his crunching or leaning forward, that is not present on this figure. But in terms of doing this kind of motion, he can do it. As for his legs, he can do the splits. As for his kicking out, that's as far as it goes. As for his double joints, it can go all the way, but it might get a little bit ugly. And then finally, his feet can do this. It can also rock side to side, I guess, or swivel side to side, and toe articulation. And that is all the articulation that is on this very Batman figure. And that concludes the articulation segment. And let's bring them both back into the... please don't fall. And that is it. Like, there is really nothing else to really say about them. They're not bad Batman figures, but again, if you're not really in need of like this whole like, I need to have the first appearance version, or I need to have this version, you're not obsessed with that, then you really don't need these figures. They're kind of just there. Like this is for people who grew up like, liking all these versions, or just like they just need it. So I got it mainly because I've never seen first appearance Batman ever. Like, I've never read the comic. I just decided, you know what? Since I already have, like, a whole Batman thing going on my shelf, you might as well throw this one in there because, it's like to complete the history, right? So, this isn't a situation where it's like this Batman, right? Like, this one's just cool. I got it because it's just so badass, right? So, that's the reason why I have no, the moment this came out, I was like, I have to get it. But... these two, I could have lived without them, but like I've said with King Cordax in that short, sometimes you just look back at it and you realize you just need it for some freaking reason. So, all right, and with that concludes this review for another look at more Batman figures as we go. This is not the end of the Batmans, and If you like this video, give it a like. If you want to subscribe to my channel, you could do that too. You don't have to. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.